So in this presentation, we are going to discuss on C functions. So let us first understand what is a function. So a function is a block of code that performs a specific task. So a function is a block of code that performs a specific task. Suppose you are building an application in C language, and in one of your program you need to perform a same task more than once. In such case, you have two options. The first option is use the same set of statements every time you want to perform the task. That is, repeat the code again and again whenever you want to perform the same task in your program. Or else you create a function to perform the task and just call it every time you need to perform that task. So in this, we are going to write the task using a function only once, and whenever we require the task to be called and execute, we call the function and the function will perform that task. So here I need not repeat the code again and again in my program. So now you can see that the option B is a good practice, and a good programmer always uses functions while writing the codes in C. So there are two types of function in C programming. One is the standard library function, and the second one is the user-defined function. So let us understand the standard library function first. So let us understand the standard library function. So the standard library functions are built-in functions in C programming. So these functions are defined in a header files. For example, the printf function is a standard library function to send formatted output to the screen. So basically this printf function is used to display the output on the screen. This function is defined in the stdio.h header file. That is the standard input-output header file. Hence, to use the printf function, we need to include the stdio.h header file using the #include directive. So we have the #include stdio.h file, which allows us to use the printf function inside the main function. Similarly, we have the sqrt function that calculates the square root of a number. So this function is defined in the math.h header file. So in case if I want to use the sqrt function in my program, I need to include this header file in my program using the #include math.h. Similarly, we have the other built-in functions that we have studied previously, like finding the length of the string using the strlen function, then to reverse a string, strrev function, to concatenate two strings, strcat function. So these built-in functions are available in the header file string.h, which can be included in my program using the #include string.h header file. So you can see here all these functions are built-in functions and can be used in my program using the header files. So I need not worry to write a code to perform such tasks like finding the square root of a given number. I just need to know how to call a function which will perform the specified task, which is readily available, and I can do that using the standard library functions. Next we have the user defined functions. So apart from having the built-in functions which will perform the task without knowing to know how the code is written, you can also create a function as per your need. That is, you can write a function with a code that will perform certain task that you want to do. So such functions created by the user are known as user defined function. So let us understand how to define a user defined function in C. So let us understand why we need functions in C. So functions are used because of the following reasons. The first one is to improve the readability of code. The readability of code, we mean that instead of writing the entire code repeatedly inside one main function, we can write the code which is going to be repeatedly used inside the main function separately using a function and call that code in the main function whenever it is required. So we can understand the code easily, we can know which code is being called and what is the function of that particular code that is going to perform when it is being called. So readability of the code becomes easier. Instead of having all the code written inside the main function, which becomes difficult to understand the code, we can have this function. Second one is it improves the reusability of the code. That is, the same function can be used in any program rather than writing the same code from scratch. This means that I can write a code and I can use the same code in any other program which is going to perform a similar task. So reusability of that code is going to be used. So instead of writing the code again and again right from the scratch, if the same code is available, I can use that code in any of the program which performs a similar task. So this is what we mean by reusability. So using the existing code again in any other program. The third advantage of having a function is debugging of the code would be easier if you use functions, as errors are easy to be traced. So as the program becomes much more simpler and easy to understand, debugging the code or the errors that are occurring inside the program becomes easier. The fourth advantage what we have is it reduces the size of the code. Duplicate set of statements are replaced by function calls. So as we need not repeat the code again and again inside a program. Instead of that, we are writing a code separately and calling it whenever it is required inside the main function. So this helps us to reduce the size of the code, and the statements that are going to be repeated or duplicated will be replaced by just a function calls. So that's why we need to use functions in C. So let us understand how do we define a function. So a function declaration basically tells a compiler about a function name, its return type, and the parameters. A function definition provides the actual body of the function. So let us understand the syntax of a function. So we can see that we have a return type, the function name, and inside the parenthesis we have the parameter list. And inside the body of a function we have the set of executable statement which are going to perform a specific task. So basically this is how the syntax of a function looks like. We have a return type, the function name, and the set of parameters inside the braces, and we have the body of the function which contains the code which is going to perform a specific task. So let us understand the individual terms that are used in defining a function. In the previous slide, we saw the syntax of the function. So let us understand the terms related to the function. So the syntax of the function definition is return type, the function name, and in brackets we have the parameter list, and then we have the body of the function enclosed in curly braces. So the first term is the return type. So return type can be of any data type such as integer, double, char, void, short, etc. So we will understand what do you mean by return type and what return type need to be mentioned to a function. It all depends upon what the function is going to perform and on what values. So this we'll understand it better when we go through some examples. So the next element what we have is the function name. It can be anything. However, it is advised to have a meaningful name for the functions so that it would be easy to understand the purpose of function just by seeing its name. For example, if I want to write a function which is going to perform some addition of two numbers, then I can give the function name as add or addition so that the function name reflects exactly what that function is going to do. Suppose I am going to write a function which is going to calculate the factorial of a given number. So I can give the function name as fact or factorial. So this is how we decide the function name that is to be given for a given function which is going to perform a specific task. So it should be a meaningful one. The third element is your argument list that we will supply in the function name. So argument list contains variable names along with their data types. So these arguments are kind of inputs for the function. For example, a function which is used to add two integer variables will be having two integer arguments. Because we are going to add two numbers, so we will be requiring two variables to hold the numbers and perform the necessary operations. So the argument list can vary depending upon the function is going to perform the task. The third element is the function body, where we write a block of code. So a set of C statement which will be executed whenever a call will be made to the function. So in the function body we are going to have a set of C statement which will perform certain operations for which the function is made for. So these are some of the essential elements of a function. That is your return type, which specifies what type of data type the function is going to return. It can be integer, float, double, character, void or short. Function name is any valid name which gives a meaningful name to that particular function. Argument list are nothing but the variable names along with their data types, and the block of code tells the statements that are going to be executing or performing certain specified task. So let us take an example to understand about functions. Suppose we want to create a function to add two integer variables. Let's split the problem so that it would be easy to understand. So here we have a function which will add the two numbers. So it should have some meaningful name like sum, addition, etc. For example, let us take the name as addition for this function. So here we have decided what the function name should be. So it should be a meaningful name which gives the exact meaning of what that particular function is going to do. So either we can give the function name as add, sum or addition. So here we take the function name as addition. So we have now finalized our function name as addition, as the function is going to perform the addition of two numbers. So this function addition adds two integer variables, which means I need two integer variables as input. Let's provide two integer parameters in the function signature. So the function signature would be, as we have decided the function name as addition, and in that I am going to supply the two parameters or two variables. num1 and num2 are the two variables which are going to hold the two numbers on which we are going to perform the addition operation. And then we can see the data type of those numbers is int. As we have decided to add two integer variables, so I have mentioned the data type as integer. Suppose my function is going to perform addition on two floating point numbers, then the data type will be float instead of int. So the result of the sum of two integer would be integer only. As I am going to add two integer numbers, definitely the output of the addition of two integer numbers will be an integer number only. Hence the function should return an integer value. So I got my return type. It would be an integer. So I specify the data type as integer for the return type. So the return type is integer here because I am going to perform the addition operation on the two integer values. Suppose if I had decided to perform the addition operation of two floating point numbers, then the return type would be float. So you got your function prototype or signature. Now you can implement the logic in a C program. So the prototype or the signature of the function is, the return type will be integer, that is int. The function name is addition, which is a meaningful name, and in the brackets we have the two parameters num1 and num2 of type integer, followed by a semicolon. So a function prototype looks like this: the return type integer, the function name as addition, in bracket we have two parameters num1 and num2 of type integer, and then we have a semicolon specified. So let us understand how the function works with a simple C program. So consider the following C program where we have defined a function addition, and we will also understand how to call a function inside a C. So we start with a hash include stdio.h, which is a header file. Inside that, the next statement what we have is the function prototype, or we call it as a function signature. So first we need to declare a function or a function prototype. So here you can, this is very important because this will decide how the function definition will be and how the code inside the function will be written. So as the problem definition states that we are going to perform addition of two integer numbers, so the function name should be relevant to the problem definition. So here we have given the function name as addition. Then the parameters that are going to be supplied to this function should be of type integer, as we are going to perform addition of two integer number. So we require two variables. So we have declared two variables num1 and num2 of type integer. As the function is going to perform addition of two integer numbers, so the answer will be in terms of integer. So the function return type will be of type integer. So this is what the function prototype is going to be, and it ends with a semicolon. So kindly note, students, that how the function prototype or the signature of the function will be. So it all depends upon the problem definition that you have been given. So inside the main function we have a list of variables that we have declared. So we have two variables, var1, var2, which are going to hold the two numbers of type integer, and we have one more variable called as res. So total we have declared three variables of type integer. So the next statement that gets executed inside the program is the printf statement, which asks the user to enter the first number. So the scanf statement, which is an input statement, reads the first number entered by the user and it stores in the variable var1. So the first variable is stored in the variable var1. The next statement that gets executed is another printf statement, which asks the user to enter the second number. So we read the second number using the scanf statement. So the second value that is been entered is stored in var2. So var1 and var2 are the two variables which are holding the two values. Now these two values we need to send it to the function which is going to perform the addition operation and return us the result of the two addition numbers. So for that we need to have a calling function. So the calling function is that function which will call the function by supplying the parameters to it. So the signature statement of the calling function is res equal to the function name in bracket we are going to supply the two variables that we are going to supply. So var1 and var2 are the two variables that we are going to pass through this function addition, and once these variables are passed to the function definition will perform the necessary operation on those two values which have been passed, and it will return the result. And finally that result is been assigned to the variable res, and we print the result of the task performed by that particular function. Once we pass these two values var1 var2 to the addition function name, the calling function will call the function. So directly the system will jump to that particular function name. It will search for the function name, it is addition, then it will check whether the parameters are of the same type that we have mentioned. Yes, var1 var2 are of type integer, so num1 and num2 will be assigned the same value that var1 var2 will be holding. The function definition and the function prototype should be the same. If they are not matching, the system will generate an error. So everything, the return type, the function name, and the parameters that are supplied to that function, their type, are all going to be the same. If any mismatch happens, then the system will generate an error. So here we can find that we have my function addition is going to accept two integer numbers. So I am passing two integer values and calling the function. So num1 and num2 will be holding the same values that var1 and var2 will be holding. Then we move on to execute the statements written inside the function block. So I have declared one more variable sum of type integer, which is going to hold the result of the two addition numbers. So num1 and num2 will perform the addition operation, num1 plus num2, and the result is stored in sum. Now it's time to return the result. So the return statement along with the variable which is holding the result of addition of two numbers will return the value back to the calling function. So the calling function was written inside the main function. So we had come outside the main function to execute the function. So we have executed the set of statements written inside that particular function, and then now the return statement will return the result. The final result is stored in sum. Now the calling function is replaced by the value sum, and it is assigned to the variable result. And next statement that gets executed is the printf statement, which prints the output is res. That is, res contains the result of the addition of two numbers which was been supplied by the variable sum. So in this program you can see that there are three important things that you need to understand. One is the function prototype, which decide how the function signature will be, or how do I declare my function. And then in the main function we have the calling function, how the calling function will be, how the parameters are supplied to the calling function, and how do we assign the result to the calling function. This is how we call the function. And third important thing is the function definition, which gets the important thing, that is, it contains all the executable tasks, statements that is going to be performed once the function is been called. So function definition contains the exact code which is going to perform the specific task. In this case it is performing the addition of two numbers. And finally we have the return type, which will return the value which is stored to the main function, and the calling function will receive that particular value, and then it will assign the value to the result, and we print the result. So this is how the function works. So here we have another C program to find the maximum of two numbers using functions. So the problem definition is we are going to find the maximum of two numbers using function. That is the largest of two numbers or biggest of two numbers using function. So first we know what is to be done. We have the function prototype or function declaration. So the thing that we need to decide here is what should be the function name, what type of values that I am going to supply, and what should be the return type. So here, as I am going to find the maximum of two numbers, I can use the function name as max or maximum or largest. So it is up to the user. He can decide what the function name can be. So I have taken the function name as max here. So I am going to find the largest of two numbers. So I take the two numbers again as of type integer. So I have passed two variables num1 and num2 of type integer. As the function is going to find the maximum of two numbers, so it will return a integer value. So the return type is going to be integer. So this is how my function declaration or the function prototype will be, followed by a semicolon. So inside the main function we have the two local variables int a and int b. I have supplied the two values to them, initialized two values. A is equal to 100 and b holds the value 200, and there is another variable declared as result. So after that, the next important thing, as I told you, the calling function. So the function name is max, and I'm going to supply the two variables a and b which hold the two values 100 and 200 that I'm going to be supplying through this function, and the final result will be stored in the variable result. So once this function is called, we move on to the function definition, where we have declared the function body and the code which is going to perform the specified task, that is finding the maximum of two numbers. So as per the function prototype, I have the return type as integer, function name as max, and the two variables num1 and num2 of type integer. So num1 will be assigned the value of a, num2 will be assigned the value of b. So num1 will be holding 100, num2 will be holding 200. So I have declared a local variable inside this function max. So it is result. So if num1 is greater than num2, so I want to check the maximum of two numbers. So I am going to have a if condition which is going to check which number is greater. So I am comparing the first number with the second number. If first number is greater than second number, I assign the first number to the result. If suppose the first number is not greater than the second number, we come to the else part, and it is obvious that num2 will be the largest of two numbers and it is be assigned to result. So the result will be holding the final value after comparison, either num1 or num2 depending upon the values that we have assigned for num1 and num2. So in this case it will be num2 because 200 is greater than 100. So num2 is greater and num2 value is assigned to result. Now we have to return the result back to the calling function. So this return function is going to return the maximum number of the two the main function. So I am going to return the result. It is of type integer. So the calling function receives the result and it is assigned to the local variable of that main function result. So I am going to print the result as 200. So this is how the function works to find the maximum of two numbers. So here we have some points to note regarding functions in C. The first point says that the main in C program is also a function. Second point says that each C program must have at least one function which is a main function. The third point to remember is that there is no limit on number of functions that we write in a program. A C program can have any number of functions. The fourth point says that a function can call itself, and it is known as recursion. The concept of recursion we will be seeing in our next presentation. So a C function terminologies that you must remember is the return type. So data type of return value, it can be void also. In such case, function does not return any value. Suppose in the return type, if I write it as void, then the function will not return any value to the main program or to the calling function. So the return type, when I specify it as void, that means the function is not going to return anything. So these are some of the points regarding functions in C. So in this presentation, we saw how do we declare a function and how a function is to be defined, what are the necessary elements that define a function, and we saw some simple programs on how to write a user defined function. Thank you.